Hey, hello. Happy Friday, friends. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a great week or Thursday. It may be for you wherever you are. Say hi. If you're catching the replay, say hi as well. Let me know that you're here and watching. I know a couple of people have already let me know they're going to be watching the replay, so hi. Hi if that's you. Um, I want to come in and talk today about some big shifts that I am noticing happening around us at the moment. Um, say Hazy jump on. I have been in the online world, I guess, since around 2016 in different capacities, doing slightly different versions of my business. But one thing I've noticed is, it just has to be. It's a space that is always evolving and is always changing and is quite dynamic. So, something I say to my clients all the time is we just see that strategies that were working 6 months ago or 12 months ago just don't cut through and work as well anymore. So we just see that shift happening. And that's not a bad thing because there are always strategies that work. Hi, Tori. How are you? I have to get back to you. I was like, I don't know what happened last night, but I just like came down with something at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I was just feeling unwell. And I went to bed at like 6 o'clock and slept all the way through. And then I woke up this morning, I was fine. So I think my body just needed more rest than I had had this week. So hi. So the industry is just shifting and changing all of the time. And it's okay, it's normal, but this is something we see a lot is that things that worked a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, can start not to work and can start not to have the traction that they did more on a tactical level because overarching, the core things of business are always going to work. But what we're seeing in the online space is the tactical way that we do that may be changing. So we've always got to be open to adapting and innovating and being fluid in perhaps something that worked for us really well 6 months ago may not work so well for us anymore. And so often it's not a reflection of us or our business, it's just a reflection of the space changing, right? So I've been lucky enough to be in this industry, I guess, for a few years, and I've just seen this happen a few times already, just in the space of being here. So first of all, I just want to kind of set this up for you that this isn't scary. This isn't a fear-based thing. This isn't bad. It's just something that naturally happens in our industry where it shifts and it evolves and things kind of change. And we just need to be, like I said, dynamic, adaptable, open for innovation, open to do things differently. So even something that may have worked for us really well up until now, sometimes we've got to be willing to let that go and step into something new. And especially as coaches, we're thought leaders, where so often we're at the forefront of like using social media and building relationships and all of those things. So what you want to do to be successful in business is be the one that's adapting and being at the front of what's happening and leading kind of the change in moving forward, not necessarily being in the pack and reacting like so many will be when changes happen. So not to say that's wrong either. I mean, it's totally fine. But I know you as A types, high performers, you want to be at the forefront. You want to be innovative. You want to be a thought leader and someone that stands out for being someone who is in the change and all of those things. So what I've just noticed, I've been observing it. I could feel it happening for a little while. I was like, I just noticed the space is changing. And after 2020, right, it's just to be expected. So think about what's happened this year, right? So many people either took their business online that wasn't online already, right? We saw restaurants suddenly have online ordering, right? And online meal delivery. We've seen, of course, like shops and all of that, but like gym, personal trainers took their business online, right? So things that had been quite innovative for quite some time, we had, just looking at the fitness industry, there were people that had created their online programs and all of that. But what we saw in 2020 was so many people that were running the PT in the traditional way. I'm just using this as an example. Again, it's not wrong, but they were all kind of forced to shift online. So we've seen this mass kind of, what's the opposite of an exodus? Feed in into our industry and into the space. So it has just gotten busier. It's just gotten louder. It's just gotten noisier. There's just more people. Right. And so not only did we see a whole bunch of existing businesses go online, but also just a huge influx of people who suddenly had the opportunity to also start the business that they were been wanting to, whether they were working from home and have more time to start their coaching business or their marketing agency or whatever it was that had been on their dream to do. People on furlough suddenly still getting paid or being paid a smaller rate, but not having to go into work, right? So we've just seen a mass like growth in the online space in 2020, right? It's always a good thing, right? Like that's a great thing. But what I'm noticing is it's just creating some shifts. It's creating some changes. So, you know, like the online space is always going to be like things that worked 6 months ago, it's harder to cut through now using them, because what happens is someone finds something that works and then they teach it to everybody and then everybody starts doing it. So then it has less power. So we've always got to be like willing to look and do things a little bit differently and yeah, just let things go that may have worked. But what I'm seeing is there's 4 kind of trends that I've just kind of picked out as I'm observing what's going on, and I'm thinking, isn't this interesting? And I've seen this before, and I get like, it's literally like some days I wake up and I can like feel the ground shifting below us a little bit as I look in on the online space. I think it's so interesting. It always creates new opportunities, and you can always be a success in your business during this time. The core things, you know, solving people's problems, building relationships, you know, providing value, right? Standing out as someone who's innovative, they're always going to work. And so, you know, you can totally kill it in this time. I totally believe that. And I think it always creates new opportunity and more opportunity. But so I wanted to pick out a couple of the trends that I'm seeing at the moment and just talk about them, because they're things I've had this discussion actually with quite a number of clients over the past couple of weeks. I'm like, I'm feeling this shifting. Here's some of the trends that I'm seeing. So I thought I would just come and share these trends. And you'll see it is creating new opportunity for people. Like in some ways it's leveling out the playing field, because even in the online space, we had these early adopters that came into the online space really early and grew massive audiences because that was so easy to do at the time, before paid advertising, before Facebook kind of differentiated Facebook pages, all of this. And so what we're seeing is, well, this is shift number one. This is shift number one that I'm seeing, is that a lot of those big names and early innovators, if they haven't stayed agile and adapting to the industry, a lot of stuff that they're teaching doesn't work anymore, right? So I'm not going to name names, but there are things that I'm seeing. There are programs that have been out for 10 years and they're teaching strategies that worked 10 years ago. And the online space has just moved on, right? So they're teaching strategies that blew up their business 10 years ago. Before, I don't even know when Facebook advertising started, but like before, like Instagram, I think only started in like 2000, like 10 years ago. Like the teaching strategies that were really like, they blew up business at that time, but they're not necessarily working anymore. It's not just enough to like have a course and people will come. It's not enough to just start a presence and like people will find you. You know, the industry is shifting. So one of the first things, and this is why I'm saying like this kind of links into trend number 2. But so a lot of those big names, those early adopters in our online space, they're teaching strategies that don't work anymore, or that work perfectly for them with 1 million followers, right? I remember someone came to me about a year ago and she's like, XX, this person told me that they only sell on Instagram stories, and so that's all I'm going to do. And like, that's perfect if you've got 1 million followers. Of course, you can only sell on Instagram stories because you probably have 200,000 people view your stories every day, right? If 1% of them buy, that's 2,000 sales a day. People without that presence, we can't just say, like, I'm only going to sell this way. This is the only way to sell. That's just not working for people at the moment in like the early growth stage of business. So when we look at, like, if you've done business studies, right, like there's like the early stage of business, there's like the growth stage, kind of like the plateauing stage, and then like maturity can mean either people need to like innovate and grow again, or they kind of go into decline. And so I'm wondering, like, if some of these big names, because they haven't stayed innovative and adapting, right, they've just kind of relied on the massive presence and that what they did 10 years ago worked, they may be in decline, right? After 10 years in the industry, some of the big names are in decline, in my view. And so that's creating massive opportunity, right? Because people are starting to see that. People are starting to see, like, a name on a course does not necessarily, like, a person's name on a course does not necessarily guarantee that they're on point of what's happening for people at different stages in the business anymore. And if they haven't been really keen to stay in that and see what's it like for people starting their business today, how do they grow with the algorithms and the platforms the way they are now, what strategies are actually really working for people on the ground and in like the first 5 years of business, if they haven't stayed up with that, then they're just not able to deliver the results to their audience that they once were. So it's something I've been observing, and something I'm just making an observation of, is that some of those strategies that have been tried and true and taught by some of those big names, I don't think work anymore. And this is creating opportunity, because this ties into shift number 2. Something I've observed, and I'm going to do a training next week on like the 3 purchases I've made in the last week. And I'm going to tie that into niching. But I kind of got curious with some of the purchases I've made in the last week, because I kind of bought across the 3 main categories: business, like money, relationships with my kids, and like health, right? And so I was really interested in the way I bought, right? Because we've been so conditioned, and like influencers, the influencer world has really pushed this idea that people want to buy from people that they like or that they want to be friends with. And I think this is a big shift that's happening. LinkedIn with number 1, people have been burnt by buying stuff from people that they liked but didn't really follow through and deliver, right? So I think this is a big shift that's happening, where more people are interested in trust and the result. So trusting that that person can deliver the result versus like liking them and wanting to be their friend. So I noticed this with one of the things that I purchased in the last week. It wasn't really someone, like, there's nothing wrong with this person at all, but it's not like I didn't really want to be a friend. I didn't think, oh my God, I really like this person. But it's like, I trust her to deliver on the result that she's promising, right? And so like that was the driving factor behind my purchase. So I think this is a shift that's happening in our marketplace. It's less about liking and visibility just for the sake of visibility, and so much more around trusting in that person to deliver on their result. I think too many people have been burnt now by buying things, and across all industries, right? I'm not just talking about business to business, but in health, in supplements, in whatever, all kinds of different things, where they really liked the person and they bought because of that, but they weren't able to deliver on the result, or they didn't get the result that they wanted. And they were left with a bit of a sour taste in their mouth, that like that person, yes, they were great on the front end and deliver, and with the marketing and having people like them, but not so much on the back end in terms of like delivering and exceeding client expectations and getting a great result. So I see that's a bit of a shift that's happening at the moment, where it's so much more about trust and results than likability, okay, and mass audience, okay? So again, this is creating so much opportunity for people, right? You don't actually need 100,000 followers to grow your business, right? People don't want to be in the mass, right? Because they're almost questioning, if someone delivers something en masse, can I actually get the results that they're promising? And I think a lot of people are curious and thinking, maybe actually I can't, right? And so tying into the shift number one, people are more interested, I think, in this is my view, in working with people that are just a few steps ahead, that are more closer on the ground to where they are and are actually in there executing and implementing and doing the tactics that they're teaching. And whether this is business or other areas, it kind of doesn't matter, versus these big names that almost are so distant and almost aren't relatable, and they're not sure that they're actually in their day to day doing the things that they're selling. Okay. So this is creating a lot of opportunity, right? Just think about, like, what would this mean for me, right? And this is what I talked about with, like, the playing field leveling out. What would this mean for me if people are more interested in not necessarily liking or being, a mass number, but in trust and results? What can I do? How can I showcase that I know what's relevant in this space right now versus what was kind of taught 5 years ago when everyone's been regurgitating, right? So think about that and let me know if you've got any questions. I can see there's someone on. Just let me know, is this resonating? Are you seeing similar trends? Let me know what you think. Okay. Shift number 3. This is an interesting one, and this is something I've had a conversation with a couple of people this week, so you'll know if this is you. Shift number 3. People no longer want information. People no longer want information. They don't want to be buying information, okay? These are all linked together, but they are very distinct as well. We're sick of doing courses that's got 2-hour trainings and so much information, and like they've crammed so much in there, and like we sign up for this course, right, and we end up having to wade through all of this information and still figure out like what's relevant. Like, have you signed up for a course a little while, and either, like, I mentioned this before, I signed up to one a month or two ago, and I got in there and the first training was 75 minutes long. 75-minute long video to learn, not to apply in my business. And I was like, I closed it down. I still haven't gone back in, right? Because I'm not interested in information anymore. Like, it's not about information. It's not about long videos delivering all of this content and information, right? We're overwhelmed with all the information. I can Google anything. I can Google how to do anything. So when people sign up to work with you or buy your programs or whatever it is, they're not wanting more information. They can literally Google how to develop I'm not a health person, whatever X number of calorie per day meal plan. That would be available on Google. They don't want that, right? They want someone to help them implement and get results in their life, right? Whatever that is. Same with business, same with everything. Like, we're just done with courses that have put in like so much information, or people that have just got so much information that they're delivering, and not the application, not the implementation, application, figuring out how this works in their business, right? We've all spent too much time consuming information. And I think this is becoming like, it's been a theme for a long time, but I think it's like a mass realization. Like, we don't actually need more information to get results. All the information's out there, unless it's something super technical that you have not learned before. For example, like, I would sign up to a course on like how to learn specific things with Facebook ads, very technical, because I'd want someone to guide me through the process and not have to kind of cobble stuff together off the internet. But I'm not necessarily going to sign up for a course like how to grow your business, and then someone teaches me like, you need a niche, you need content, you need to get visible, right? Like, we know that all that information's there. So the trend is really around how can you, and loving it, so good to hear, right? And this is something, we've had a conversation around. How can you help people get results and showcase the value that you're delivering, especially with coaching, right? It's just all coaching is like helping people get results, not delivering more information. I think somewhere along the way we bought into this myth that like more information, more content, more modules, more videos, longer videos, whatever, equates to more value. But what it actually equates to for the consumer is more overwhelm and less doing an application, which is where the results are, which is where the transformation is. The transformation doesn't come from information. The transformation comes from actually implementing and applying that in the business. So I think this is a big trend we're going to see where massive, long programs that do teaching are kind of, I think they might be in the maturity and like decline stage. So people don't want to sign up to like 6-month courses. They want way more application and less information, right? That's why we've seen like this big rise in masterminds, group coaching. I mean, one-to-one coaching is always going to be a standout for this. And less of these like year-long signature courses that teach you content every week. Like people have kind of moving away from that because it's not helping people get results and they're overwhelmed by it. It's like the course completion rate has always been like super, super low. And don't get me wrong, like I still think there is a place for courses, but much more like dialed in. So like way more specific. So like, a short course on Facebook ads so that within a few weeks, like you're ready to go and run your first ad. A short course I've got one on content, like how to create a content framework. So within 2 weeks, you know how to go out and create content, right? So I think the trend is more towards things like that. And less to these big signature programs that kind of teach so much in so many different topic areas and you have to wade through, oh, like I already know that's not relevant for me. People just want to buy the specifics that are relevant to them. So again, it's opening up an opportunity to as well stand out and be different and to showcase how you can help people get results and focus on implementation and less so information delivery. So that's shift number 3. So the final shift that I've been really thinking about and noticing is that our consumers are savvy. They are super savvy, and this is a great thing because, we see people come out into the market and they're all promises and they're all, maybe they do have really slick front-end marketing and people can kind of feel now whether there's like truth to what they're saying and whether they can really deliver on it. So I was having a chuckle with someone this week, right? Where someone thinks like the fastest way for me to make money is to create a money mindset course because everyone's always willing to invest in money, but then they don't have any money and they're trying to teach people like money mindset. So they're promising 10K months, 20K months, whatever, and they haven't actually got that in their life. People are really savvy to stuff like that now, and there are people that you can buy from who are fully embodied in it, that are leading and teaching and like helping with implementation and execution and coaching from a place of, really having done that and walked that path. So I think people are seeing through that a lot more. They can just feel it, just feels off. That feels like that person's lying, right? If you ever, I just opened up something and someone was talking about 10K months and helping people do that, I'm like, I just feel like they're lying. Just didn't feel true, right? And the market's getting super savvy to that. So again, this isn't to say that you have to have achieved every goal that your clients want. I know I had this conversation, but there's a space between, really being confident in your ability to get someone that result versus these people in the market who think this is a fast way to make money. So for example, I had a client recently and she just felt like all the business coaches were promising 10K months, 5K months, all of this. And she was in the growth part of her business, the early stage. So she hadn't quite got there yet, right? And she's like, I feel like I can't really sell that because it wouldn't be authentic because I haven't reached that place in my business. And this was so true for me too, right? And we're like, well, what have you mastered? You've mastered getting visible. You've mastered getting your content out. You've mastered these other steps. Just focus on helping people get those first steps. Like someone brand new still needs all of that. And your business can kind of grow with you. So don't worry about, I think people are super savvy to the big flashy results that don't feel true. And more, like I said, want someone who's just a few steps ahead that can really help them, that's in it and knows what's working and knows what like the trends are in the marketplace and what's really working on a tactical level, and bring them through, right? And then as you do that, you naturally grow. And it's the same with health, right? It's like, you may have I don't know, learned something that you've been implementing and it's creating a lot of shifts, right? You may be helping people with that, but you might be focusing on a different level of health or a different protocol or a different something in your life, but you can still help people on that first part. The first part might be cutting out sugar or something, and that might be something you've nailed. You're no longer really needing to work on that, right? If it was part of gut health or something. And you might have restored your gut, so you don't need to be like working on quitting sugar every day anymore. And you might be working on something else in your health, right? But you're still in it and close enough to kind of know, versus saying like, I can teach you how to quit sugar, but I never quit sugar myself, right? That's a lot of what people I think are getting really savvy to in the marketplace, especially from like the business coaching side of things, but it applies to everything, right? They don't want to just buy from someone who's thought this is like a great business idea and a quick money making thing. They want to buy from this authentic results based place. So you can see how these all tie together. They want to buy from someone that they trust will actually help them get the results. And so often that's someone who is embodying that and right has the social proof to back that up. So I think your clients are getting more savvy, or your audience, your customer base, the whole online space is getting more savvy, right? So this creates opportunities, because I know everyone in this group is really heart focused, impact focused, wants to make a difference, wants to really help people in their lives, and wants to make money doing it, which is totally, it's an and, it's not an either or, right? But so this creates massive opportunities for you, right? In showcasing the authenticity behind your offers, right? The building that trust and, showcasing your journey and your results and your clients' results to showcase that trust, and not necessarily just be liked, but really wanting to really showcase results and trust. That's what people are really savvy to. And that's something I'm feeling is like a shift that's going to be coming out in the marketplace more and more. People don't want to feel like a number. They don't want to feel like it's information without results. And people aren't so focused on liking the person. Like I'm not saying they want to buy from someone they hate, but they want to feel more genuine trust in the fact that person can get results versus they're a celebrity influencer who looks good, right? So they're like 4 of the shifts that I'm seeing. Actually, I didn't recap those shifts. The 4 key shifts that we've chatted about are like the big names teaching strategies that don't necessarily work anymore or work for people in the earlier stage of their business, and people are becoming really savvy to that. That people are more interested in trust and results than likability or like Insta fame or any of that. It used to be a while ago that people would just be like, well, she's got 100,000 followers, so she must be good, so I'll buy. Right? I think people are really cutting through from that and getting really savvy, okay? So people are more interested in trusting you and the result, trusting you to deliver the result, than they are about who they're actually buying from, right? I noticed that with a purchase I made recently, and I think it's a trend that's emerging. People no longer just want information, right? Gone are the days where like there was really new information to teach to people in terms of like, this is how you do X, Y, and Z. This is, the process for this, right? All of that's available on the internet. You can Google all of it, right? So people are moving away from pure information and just thought downloads to more nuanced information that helps them apply and implement and get the results. Okay. The fourth shift is that our consumers are really savvy. The online world, people are really savvy to it now. So they can just see through the stuff that doesn't feel true, that's BS, that's, not real. The consumers are really savvy to it. So what I think is this creates so much opportunity, right? Because as I said right up the front, the playing field's kind of leveling a bit, right? People are seeing through, like, it's not about the number of Instagram followers, right? It's not about being an early adopter 10 years ago. It's not about, a course that they've taught 6 times already and just the same information, right? That then the people they teach it to are then going out and teaching, right? It's like people are wanting this new field, this new ways kind of opening up. And I think for all of us, it creates opportunities. So think about that. What opportunities for you come from this? I know for me, I think there's opportunity in, building trust around results, showcasing results, right? Focusing less on metrics and numbers and more about results, on building deep trust with your audience, on really showcasing how you stand out as someone who has achieved what you help your clients to achieve. And it's not just an idea that you thought looked good and that you're teaching from a sort of unembodied place. So just take these trends and observe. Like, I think it's so cool to just sit back and watch what's happening. I know that's what I've kind of been doing over the last couple of weeks. I'm like, this is so interesting. I can feel it shifting, and I actually wanted to observe, like, what are these shifts? So look at it and think about, like, for you, what opportunities does that create for you in your business? How can you kind of shift into this new way with these new trends that are emerging? And the fundamentals of business always stay true. So like niching, content strategy, a marketing strategy, right? Building relationships, having slick, like smart offers, like all of those things, like an easy pathway for people to come in, right? All of that stuff is still foundational, but it's like at the kind of executional level, right? There might be new ways opening up for you in terms of how to do that, right? I've seen a number of people actually recently talking about wanting to build their communities off Facebook, right? Because people are so overwhelmed by Facebook and you can't track the notifications, and like Facebook's changed the algorithm in groups. So if they've signed up to a group program that's being run in a Facebook group, people are missing the information, or like not the information, like the trainings and things, like they're not getting notifications of like the videos and all of this. So people are thinking, how do I give this outside of Facebook, right? Because that's what people are kind of craving, is like, we want to spend less time on social media. Like, does that create opportunities for you? Is that something your clients are demanding? Like, just think about that. Like, what is happening in the space at the moment? And what does that mean that our people are looking for? And what opportunities does that open up? Like, there are so many. So I really wanted to make sure this is not scary. This is not like, hey, your business like can't work anymore. Not that at all. Business is always going to work. People are always going to need services. People always want results. But the way that we go and convey that might just shift and change, and it always has. Like I said, I noticed, gosh, when I first came out, do you know how easy it was to just like, I've deleted the account now, but do you know how easy it was to just grow like your Instagram following? Like every post I put out would just like generate 100 new followers, right? So like you just generate followers like that. That shifted, right? It's not like that anymore, and that's still that's still okay, right? The right people always find you, but it's just like the way that we execute is different now, right? So just think about, what are the opportunities? What does this mean? What am I taking away for this in my business? And how am I going to be at the forefront, right? And be an innovator, because people are craving that innovation. Just like the idea of people don't want group programs run in Facebook groups at the moment. Or some people don't. It's not blanket, not all. But I've seen a lot of people talking about, how do I run that same community outside of Facebook, right? So like there's innovation opportunities there. There's innovation opportunities across all of this. So I think it's an awesome time to step back, look at what you're seeing with your audience, think about the trends I've talked about here, and what does this mean for you and your business? How can you be at the forefront and be innovating and adapting and being a leader of kind of the way forward from here? So that's what I wanted to share with you. The four shifts, kind of just an overarching discussion about what I'm seeing, how these are looking, and that it's really an opportunity, a time of opportunity. The online space is exploding, and what's so great about this is like so many people are so used to working online now. All those barriers that were there at the start of 2020 for people who maybe had never bought a service online, like had never done online personal training. They were still going into their offices to work every day, who hadn't done online kinesiology or online whatever. Like 2020 got everyone used to just taking anything, everything online, right? So there's so much opportunity. Like that's just going to continue, and those barriers have come down. People are so much more willing to attend online events, to get coaching online, right? All of their services online, and like that is a beautiful thing that's opened up so much opportunity. So I hope this has helped. I hope you've got some ideas from this. Let me know what you thought, and let me know what trends you're observing, right? If you've observed the same ones, let us know. If you're noticing some other trends, we'd love to hear. There's definitely some things I'm noticing from like the Facebook algorithm and tactical, but I kind of wanted to keep this high level. We can come back and talk about those another day. But if you're noticing some high level trends too, share them. Let us know, educate us. Love to hear what you're seeing and observing and what opportunities it's creating for you. Thanks for being with me, Tori. I'm going to go and send you a message now. Thanks for being here. Happy Friday, and I'll chat with you all very soon. Bye.